Todas las comunicaciones que tenemos van a llevarse a cabo por medio de su correo electrónico.
Therefore, it is critical that we have your correct email address and your full name.
Por lo tanto, es crítico que tengamos su nombre completo y su correo electrónico correcto para poder comunicarnos con usted.
Equally, please ensure that your name is depicted on all devices that you are using for this court session.
Y al mismo tiempo les pido que por favor pongan su nombre completo, el nombre de usted, en cualquiera de los aparatos que está utilizando ahora para saber identificarlo quién es usted.
Let's quickly go over the rules of virtual court.
Vamos a hablar brevemente de las reglas cuando se hace una audiencia virtual.
Please ensure that there are no distractions in your background.
Asegúrese que no hay distracciones en el trasfondo.
Please ensure that you are not laying down or in a bedroom or a bathroom while court is being conducted.
Asegúrese por favor de que no se encuentra en un cuarto o está acostado o está en el baño mientras se está llevando a cabo la audiencia aquí virtual.
Please ensure that you are dressed properly for court.
Asegúrese que está vestido debidamente para estar aquí en una audiencia virtual.
Please ensure that you are not operating a vehicle while this court session is going on.
Y asegúrese de que no está operando un vehículo motorizado mientras estamos aquí en la audiencia del tribunal.
While we ask everyone to allocate 4 hours, we estimate this court session will be about 2 hours.
Aunque nosotros le pedimos a la gente que se prepare por si acaso esto va a durar 4 horas, esta sesión, generalmente podemos hacerlo en 2 horas.
Finally, please ensure that you have proper connectivity on your end for this virtual court session.
Y por favor asegúrese que tiene la conectividad correcta o adecuada para poder llevar a cabo esta audiencia en virtual.
If you are represented by an attorney, please allow your attorney to present on your behalf.
Si usted lo representa un abogado, por favor permita a los abogados que se encargue de representarlo en nombre suyo.
I am going to call the calendar, and when you hear your name called,
Voy a llamar a la lista de casos y cuando usted oiga su nombre,
please unmute your device and announce your plea.
por favor, abre el micrófono, active el micrófono y diga cómo se declara.
Your plea will be not guilty, guilty, or nolo contendere.
Su declaración va a escoger una, puede ser culpable, no culpable o no lo disputa. Escoge una de esas.
I am calling the calendar. Brianna Bussey. Brianna Bussey. FTA. Shakira Chester.
Present.
Thank you. What is your plea, Ms. Chester?
Not guilty.
Thank you. We have the witnesses here, Jade Norwood and Alonzo Woods. Are you all available?
Yes. They were.
All right, thank you. We will call this case for trial momentarily if you all will just hold on. Thank you for being present. James Dixon. James Dixon. FTA.
Judge, he's there. He just raised his hand. He's not speaking.
Zabiel Farias.
Judge.
Yes.
Did you get Mr. Dixon? He is there. For some reason, he's not saying anything.
I did not get him. What is your plea, Mr. Dixon?
It's not guilty.
Thank you. Zabiel Farias.
Farías Abiel, si está presente, por favor, déjenos saber. Active el micrófono.
That will be FTA. Janet Hernandez. That involves Janet Hernandez.
Our case is going to be at 1 o'clock, Judge.
Thank you. Nancy Hernandez. Nancy Hernandez Gonzalez.
Nancy Hernández González, por favor, active su micrófono si se encuentra presente para dejarnos saber cómo se declara. Hernández González, Nancy.
FTA. Herman McGee. Herman McGee. FTA. Lavert McKenzie.
That's George Creel's case, Judge. We're still pre-trying it.
Okay, thank you. Leona McMichael. Leona McMichael, FTA. Jerica McNair. Jerica McNair, FTA. Josephine Victor. I may have skipped a page. Let me go back. I skipped a page. Timothy Newsom. Timothy Newsom, FTA.
I see him on the screen, but he's not saying anything.
Timothy Newsom.
Here, sir, present.
What is your plea to the charge, Mr. Newsom?
It's non-guilty, but last time I asked to speak to a solicitor and I was reposted. Is that possible?
All right, we will allow you to pre-trial your case with the solicitor, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Demetrius Ray or Tracy Ray.
Not guilty. Tracy Johnson.
you. Thank you. Favzone Sinclair, that's the one that we'll need an interpreter for.
Yes.
DeAndrea Talley. DeAndrea Talley. FTA. Josephine Victor, I think she announced earlier. Ms. Victor,
Here,
what is your plea, young lady?
not guilty.
Thank you. We'll be ready to go for the trial momentarily. John Whitehead. John Whitehead. FTA. Michael Williams. Michael Williams. That is FTA. Is Fak Win available? And say the Driza Osi Nianar Rani.
Yes, I'm here.
If you all will hold on, Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams is FTA right now. Let me hold on another 5 minutes and I may excuse you all, okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Natisha Wilson. Natisha Wilson. Natisha Wilson. That's FTA. That concludes the call of the calendar. We have several FTAs and we have several trials. So once the prosecutor comes back on the line, we will begin with the trial of Shakira Chester.
Judge, if I could get somebody to place me in a breakout room with Officer Dawes.
Okay.
I got it.
Hello, I never heard my name called.
What is your name?
Micah Malone.
That's the red
Mr.
speed.
Malone, I don't have you on my calendar. I'm gonna let you communicate with Ms. Green to see if you're supposed to be on the 1 o'clock calendar. Are you
He's a
charged
red
with
speed.
an offense? He's red speed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir, stay on the line. We will handle the red speed calendar at the end of this calendar.
I didn't hear my name either. I'm Sawana White.
You're red speed.
All right. Your red speed as well. We will handle the red speed calendar at the end of this calendar.
Oh,
Thank you. So we have Malone and White for red speed. Is that correct?
We also have Miss Ibarra and I believe Katrina West is on the line as well.
Okay, so we have 4 for red speed. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So we have a couple of trials as soon as the prosecutor is finished. And let me see if there are any, if I have the witnesses, I can go ahead and get started with those. For anyone that is entered a not guilty plea. Let me go back to Michael Williams. Michael Williams. Okay. Mr. Nguyen and Mr. Hussein Niarani.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Williams has not appeared. I'm going to issue an FTA. It is 8/23. An FTA will be issued. Have you all typed your name and email address in the chat?
Already done that. Sir.
I did
Okay.
it.
Then you both will receive notice of his new court date on the FTA calendar. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, and you all are excused.
Thank you, sir.
You can disengage from the call. Thank you. DeAndrea Talley. DeAndrea Talley. Is Melvin Pineda or Charles Howard available?
I have not seen them log on.
Okay, that case too, we will issue an FTA. All right, Timothy Newsom will pre-trial with the prosecutor before we begin his trial. And
Yes, sir.
there was one other person that entered okay. So why don't I go ahead and start with the case of Shakira Chester. I have Jay Norwood and Alonzo Woods. If I can have Shakira Chester to unmute, Jay Norwood to unmute, and Alonzo Woods to unmute.
Your Honor, do you still want me to wait to see if those other people will show
Can
up?
you wait and give us about another 5 or 10 minutes just to be
It's-
sure that no one
yeah.
comes on? Okay,
That's fine,
thank
Your
you.
Honor.
Ms. Chester,
Yes, sir.
it's my understanding you've entered a not guilty plea to the charge of following too closely. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, now I assume this was a car accident,
Yes, sir.
and it looks like the allegation is that the front of your car hit the rear of someone else's vehicle. Is that correct?
Yes, it did.
All right, did the front of your car impact the back of someone else's vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is Jay Norwood on the line or Alonzo Woods?
Yes.
All right, can I have everyone that is going to testify to please raise your right hand? Everyone that's going to testify, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. If so, say I do.
I do.
I do.
All right. Has everyone typed their name and their email address in the chat?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. So Ms. Norwood,
Yes.
all right. Can you please tell us, you've been sworn in, can you please tell us what happened?
I was at the front of the line and I stopped on brakes because it was a car turning right into an auto shop on Jonesboro. I stopped on brakes and the car behind me stopped. And I'm guessing 2-3 cars later, that's when the hit came. So I was hit last.
Okay, so this was a chain reaction and there was a car that hit a car that knocked that car into your car.
There was a car that hit a car that hit another car that knocked the car
Okay.
behind me.
So there were two cars that was knocked into your car.
Yes.
Okay, so let me just be sure that this was a 4-car accident based on your understanding.
1, 2, 4 or 5. I think I was the 5th car.
Okay. All right. So you don't, the car behind you, do you know who was the driver of the vehicle behind you, or have you had any conversations with that driver?
Not since the accident, and I don't remember his name.
Okay.
I think I was the one behind him.
Okay, you're Mr. Woods?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Ms. Norwood?
No, sir.
All right, Ms. Chester, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Ms. Norwood?
No.
All right. Next, I'm going to go to Alonzo Wood. Mr. Wood, will you please tell us what happened, sir? And you are under oath.
Okay, there's a white Kia in front of me.
Mr. Wood, I need for you to turn your video on, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And please take your hat off your head. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, it was a white kid in front of me. She slammed on brakes because the car was turned into an auto shop. When she slammed on brakes, I slammed on brakes behind her. I come maybe 2-3 feet from hitting her. After that, it was some car hit me from the back and pushed me into her.
And do you know who the driver was of the vehicle that hit you from the back?
No, it was a black Nissan. Nissan, what is that? It's black Nissan SUV.
Okay. All right. Ms. Chester, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Mr. Woods?
No, sir.
All right.
3004, that's 3004.
Let me ask you, Ms. Yates,
Yes, sir.
do we have the police report on this? Because I think that we may be missing some witnesses.
Yes, sir. One moment. We also have Officer Edwards on the line.
Okay.
Judge Freeman, would you like me to share my screen? I have the police report up.
Yes, and I want to hear from Officer Edwards too.
Okay, so here's that police report, Judge.
Okay. All right, I want everyone to be able to see. I'm
going
trying
to
to
the
see
top.
who all the drivers are. If you could go back to the very beginning, so I
Okay.
can see. Okay, driver 1 is Staley.
And then we got,
Driver 2 is Sanders.
right?
Yep, driver 3. All right, let's go back.
You want me to go back up, sir?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
So it looks like driver 3 is Ms. Chester. And driver 4 is Woods.
And then there's one
Okay.
more, sir.
All right, and then driver 5 is Noah Wood.
And then here's the picture.
All right, and now let's go back to see. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Miss Chester, your vehicle was hit in the rear as well?
No, sir. From the picture, I would be driver 1.
Okay.
Driver 2 is Isaac. And I don't know the names of driver 3 and 4.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. So your vehicle was not hit in the rear. Your vehicle is the one that's accused of hitting
right.
driver 2. You were the last one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Officer Edwards, do you
How
have
you
any
doing, Judge?
questions you'd like to ask Mr. Woods, Ms. Chester?
No, I don't have any questions. I just wanted
So
to
let me
state.
tell you how this goes. I'm gonna hear from the officer. You have the right to ask him questions, and then
Okay.
you'll have an opportunity to tell me what happened, okay?
Okay. Okay.
All right, Officer Edwards,
Hey, how you doing, Judge?
I am fine. Let me get you to raise your right hand, please. We are on the Shakira Chester matter. Do you swear
Okay.
or affirm, sir, the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God, sir. If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, sir, can you tell us what happened in this incident, and please advise whether or not this did happen within the municipal bounds of Forest Park?
Yes, I responded to a multiple car accident on Jonesboro Road. And
Is
when
that
I
within the bounds of, is that within the city limits of Forest Park?
yes, it is.
All right,
I responded in reference to this accident, and when I arrived, I remember most of the drivers saying that there was a car that cut them off suddenly or stopped suddenly, causing the first vehicle to stop suddenly approaching Conley Road, and that's what caused the multi-car pileup.
okay, all right. And you ended up citing one of the drivers, is that correct?
Correct.
And why did you cite that driver?
I cited Miss Chester because she was the first person to make the first initial impact that caused the chain reaction after that.
So her vehicle was the last vehicle that caused the chain reaction, that caused the damage with all the preceding 4 cars?
Correct.
All right. All right. Did you talk to anyone? Did you take statements from anyone?
Yes, I took statements and I talked to all the drivers.
Okay. Ms. Chester, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Officer Edwards?
Yes, so what you're saying is car number 3 didn't impact number 4, and also number 2, then 1 like a domino effect?
Driver 3 was also issued a citation as well, which I believe is, can't remember the name off the top of my head.
In this depiction, we have driver 3 to be Chester.
So vehicle 1 and vehicle 3 should have been issued a citation.
All right. I don't believe Ms. Noah was issued a citation. Let's see. Let's scroll down. It'll usually tell you who was issued a citation. You can go back the other way.
Drivers 1, 2, and 3 were issued the citations. That would be Stanley, Wayne Stanley, Isaac Sanders, as well as Miss Chester.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, are the other 2 people, what was the disposition of their case? What is the disposition of you said Sanders and Staley and Chester were issued citations?
Yes,
when
sir.
are their court dates?
I am checking for you now.
Okay, because we probably need to hear this all at one time.
Okay, Stanley paid his ticket.
Okay,
So did Sanders.
okay, so Stanley and they've already taken care of their case.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Then we can go ahead and proceed. Ms. Chester, do you have any additional questions you'd like to ask Officer Edwards?
What were the conditions on that date as far as the weather conditions?
I know it started raining when we got out there. I know it started raining harder when we got out there.
I don't have any more questions because I think my next comment would probably be more of a statement than a question, Your Honor.
Okay. I don't think there are any other witnesses, Ms. Chester, so you can go ahead and tell us what happened.
Okay, as stated before, the car that was depicted on the picture. It was in front of car number 5. Was turning into actually a driveway right before the intersection. And as they were turning, I guess they were kind of moving slowly, and it was a car in front of car number 5 that was behind that car that was turning. So the car in front of number 5 actually like maneuvered out of the way. They went into the left lane and kept going. And car number 5 pressed on their brake. Then number 4 did the same thing. 3, 2, and 1. When we were on the scene, everybody was saying that once they pressed on the brake, they slid because of the weather. So it just caused a chain reaction. And my not guilty plea is based on that, the weather condition.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Ms. Chester?
No, sir.
All right. Do you know what the speed limit is on that street?
I think it's you know what? I don't know for sure. So.
Yeah. Is it more than 30 miles an hour?
I would think so. That's the Jonesboro Road.
Right. Right. Okay. All right. So the way the following too closely statute reads is that the law says that you're supposed to be kind of as a measurement, 1 car length for every 10 miles posted on the speed limit. So if you assume that the speed limit is 30 miles an hour, the desired distance is 3 car lengths, so that if someone slams on their brake or if the weather conditions are bad, it gives you adequate distance to stop.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think that this chain reaction happened as a result of that. It's just that cars 1, 2, and 3, which is your car, Staley and Sanders, were not at an adequate distance to stop in case of an emergency. And so let me first, was there any bodily injury to anyone?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right, is everyone okay?
No.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Yes.
has everyone's car been taken care of
Yes, sir.
as far as the property damage?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. So Ms. Chester, you've entered a not guilty plea to the following too closely. The court does find you guilty of this violation, and the fine amount is $188. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
What I am going to do is once that fine is paid, I'm going to reduce this to a basic rules violation to keep this off of your record. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Are you able to pay the 188 within 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time?
Yes, sir. I'll be able to pay it within 2 weeks. Hello? Judge.
One moment, ma'am.
You all excuse me, my dogs woke up. Yeah. So you said you are able to pay this within 2 weeks?
Yes, sir.
Have you typed your name and your email address in the chat?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Yates, do we have her information?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Chester has been found guilty of the offense of following too closely. The fine is 188. We're going to reduce it to a basic rules upon the payment of the fine. All right.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Norwood and Mr. Wood, thank you all for taking time out of your schedule to be present for this hearing today. And unless you all have questions, you can disengage from the call. Likewise, Ms. Chester, since your email and everything is there, you can disengage from the call.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Have a nice
Thank you.
All right, you all take care. Officer Edwards, thank you. Officer Edwards, we have, let me look and see what other, yeah, we have a couple of other matters for you. Let me go to James Dixon next, because I
Judge,
think
can I
that's
interrupt
probably
real quick?
one that I can handle. Mr. Dixon?
Yes, sir.
Judge,
All right, so
can I interrupt real quick?
doors
Ms.
involved,
You
the
put
first
me
one
in-
involves a window tint. The law says that your vehicle's window tint cannot be less than a certain percentage, and this is saying, were you driving your car or someone else's vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Whose vehicle were you operating?
In my car, sir.
All right, have you had your window tint changed? And if so, do you have any paperwork to show that that darker tint has been removed?
I took it. I just took it out. I took it out a couple days afterwards. Yeah, because this was the problem, sir. I bought the car in November.
November of what year? You got this ticket in September. You got this ticket in September of 2021. So you would have had to bought the car before then.
11/16/2020.
Okay.
At the time, I didn't realize that it was anything wrong with the window, anything like that, until, because I'm not professional, nothing like that. I just bought the car. I don't know nothing about checking, so I didn't know that how dark the window was or not. I didn't even know that. So after the officer told me about it, about 2 days later, I just snatched it all out the back.
All right, and how about the change of address on your license, sir?
I've changed that, but
Let me see it.
Okay. Yeah, at the time,
And
At the
Officer Edwards, those were the two violations, the window tint and the address on his license?
Yeah, because I wrote him a verbal warning for the improper turn.
Okay.
okay. Can you see it?
Let me see what date this was issued. All right. Yes, I can. Okay. All right, Officer Edwards, these are both safety violations. So what I'm going to do is there will be no fine imposed. Mr. Dixon, have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
I tried, but I don't know how to do that.
Okay, let me tell you, let me have your email address. Tell us your email address.
Okay, I'll give it to you. Here you go.
No, say your email address.
Okay. Dixon J 020265 @gmail.com.
Dixon J 020265 @gmail.com.
Yes, sir.
All right. Do we have that, Ms. Yates?
Yes, sir, we do.
All right. We're going to zero out these two, and that will conclude the matter with Mr. Dixon. Mr. Dixon, you're free to go.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
God bless
you. All right.
Judge, can I interrupt real quick?
You certainly can, sir.
Can I get somebody put me back into a breakout room with Mr. Creel?
Yes, I'll do it for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have we gotten any movement on Mr. Sinclair?
He is in his car with his phone. I've tried to get the attention of Mrs. Cox to engage. Not sure if she caught my messages.
I'm right here. I've been messaging you back. I'm not able to see him. I'm assuming we're gonna have to be placed in a breakout room.
Okay. Okay.
Let's place them in the breakout room.
Okay, I'll do that.
Your Honor, Your Honor, I'm not sure what's happening with this case, but I need to be in the breakout room with whoever's gonna talk to him, if that makes sense. Just want to clarify.
It does make sense. And can you do this, Ms. Cox? Find out what is Mr. Sinclair's plea. I am inclined to just bind the case over to Clayton County.
He said, Judge Freeman, he's pleading not guilty.
Okay, then why don't we just bind this case over to Clayton County?
Okay, will do. Thank you, sir.
Ms. Cox, this case will be bound over to Clayton County. We will get his information, and the next time he has a court appearance, you can assist with the interpreting services in Clayton County.
Okay, sounds good. You have a good day.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a couple of trials left. Edwards, we have Newsom left, which is a pre-trial. That one might go to trial. You have Tracy Ray. And we also have, I think that may be it. But the prosecutor is pre-trying the cases. Why don't we go ahead and handle some of the red speed cases while we're waiting on him to do that? Because he has a couple of pre-trials.
Your Honor, may I still?
And yes, you can be excused. It does not look like we're going to need your interpreting services today.
Thank you, Your Honor. See you this afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Judge Freeman?
Yes.
We have Leona McMichael as FTA, but I do see her on the screen. She is on page 3.
Yep, let's see what her plea is. Michael?
It doesn't look like her audio is set up. I see.
All right.
I want to message her.
Do you know if she's engaged yet?
She's trying now.
Okay. And if not, let's go ahead and start with our red speed because we're going to have to come back and finish up this calendar.
connected now.
Ms. McMichael,
Yes.
my name is Ronald Freeman. I'm the judge here in Forest Park.
Yes.
You are on our trial calendar because you entered a not guilty plea to an improper turn charge. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Oh, okay. Today is your trial date. The officer is here and ready to go. What is your
Okay.
plea? Are you going by your not guilty plea or changing your
Yeah.
plea to guilty or nolo?
Okay, if I change it to NOLO, what do that mean?
You will pay a fine of $150. The nolo, if you are eligible, will keep points from being assessed on your driving record.
Oh, okay.
That's the benefit of the nolo plea. The guilty plea, you will still pay the fine of $150 and points will be assessed. Not guilty, we will just simply have a trial and I will determine your guilt or your innocence.
Are we gonna have a trial with you now?
We're going to have the trial when the prosecutor comes back on the line. Yes, we are. It will take place today.
Okay, I would
I'm here,
like.
Judge.
Ms. McMichael, what is your plea?
NOLO, not guilty.
It can't be both. It's nolo or not guilty. It's one or the other.
Not guilty.
Okay. Have you typed your name and your email address in the chat?
I typed my name in and it said email.
Type your name and you came on late. So that's why you didn't follow these instructions, but please type your name and your email address in the chat.
And where do I do that at? Sir,
Down at the bottom of your device, or it may be at the top, you'll see the word chat, but why don't you just tell us your email address?
Okay. McMichael Leona 300@gmail.com.
All right, do we have that, Ms. Yates? McMichael Leona?
We got it, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You're
When
welcome.
the prosecutor is prepared, we will call this case for trial, Ms. McMichael. Just stay on the line, okay?
Okay, well, I was not late, so I just wanted to point that out. I was on the phone. I was looking at you guys. I wasn't late.
What you were,
At
okay.
8 o'clock. Okay.
Okay, if you say so, all right?
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, all right.
Judge, we can go ahead and proceed if you want to swear everybody in.
Okay, are you ready for that particular trial? Because you have some other trials as well.
Yes, this is Leona McMichael, correct, Judge? Officer Edwards?
Yeah, but you had some trials before that one, so you want to,
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm ready to go. I have an announcement on McKenzie also on George Creel's case. He is speaking to him. We have a negotiated plea, so we can
Okay.
take that whenever he jumps back on.
all right, so your first trial would be Tracy Ray.
Okay.
And just a reminder, Mr. Newsom wanted to pre-trial with you.
And remember, you had someone that wanted to pre-trial with you as well, Mr. Prosecutor.
Okay. Well, because it's trial date, Judge, I'll have to fit that pretrial in.
I
once we get
got
there.
it. Okay, we'll start with Tracy Ray first.
All right, and this is Officer Edwards also.
That is correct.
We can go ahead and
All right.
start with those.
Demetrius Tracy Ray. Demetrius Tracy Ray.
We believe she may have got kicked off.
Okay, then we will give her time to re-engage. The next trial then would be, that would be Ms. McMichael, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, Ms. McMichael, you ready, Mr. Prosecutor?
I am, Judge.
All right. Can I have everyone that's going to testify in this case to please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God, if so, say I do.
I do.
I do.
All right. Ms. McMichael, the city has the burden of proof, so they get to present their case first. You have the right to question every witness that the city calls against you, and then you have the right to present and tell us about your case and call your witnesses. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you have any questions you'd like to ask me before the trial starts?
Yes, one more question. I mean, this is new to me. No, if I plead NOLO, it will stop the points.
but I would still be guilty.
No, NOLO is not a form of guilty. It is a form of acceptance of responsibility, and that's why you will pay the fine. But the NOLO plea, if you are eligible, keeps points from being assessed.
Okay.
All right, but right now you've entered a not guilty plea, so we were proceeding with the trial. That's what you want to do, is that correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. All right. So Officer Edwards, go ahead, Mr. Prosecutor.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. McMichael's before the court because on September 22nd of 2020, she received a citation for improper right or left turn. Officer Edwards issued that citation. Officer Edwards, on the date in question, did you have an opportunity to come in contact with Ms. McMichael?
I did.
Was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes, it was.
And are you a post-certified peace officer with arrest powers?
I am.
Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
It was in reference to a traffic stop. I observed Ms. McMichael turning left onto Old Dixie from Forest Parkway, going into the outer lane, or going directly into the outer lane.
So you were actually moving in traffic. Were you behind Ms. McMichael, or were you traveling in the opposite direction? Do you recall?
No, I was stationary at the BP gas station.
Okay. And you were at that location for some time prior to seeing Ms. McMichael make this violation?
Correct.
And when you observed the violation, was there any obstructed view of either Ms. McMichael's vehicle and or the roadway in which she made the maneuver?
No.
You pulled Ms. McMichael over immediately after or some ways down the road from where you observed the maneuver and explained to her why you pulled her over. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And once you explained to her why you had pulled her over, did she make any statements to you that you can recall?
Not that I recall off the top of my head now.
All right. No other further questions for this witness, Judge?
All right, Ms. McMichael.
Yes.
The allegation is that you were on a 2-lane road in 1 lane, and when you turned onto another road that had 2 lanes, you effectively switched lanes. Do you understand that?
It was the same road.
Okay. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm just trying to explain to you what the officer said.
Okay.
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 The officer said that you were making a turn from 1 road to another road.
Okay.
All right. He's saying, and let me give you an example. Let's say you were in the inside lane on the road that you're traveling in. Okay.
Okay.
He is saying that when you made the turn onto the other road, that you switched from the inside lane to the outside lane. So I just want you to understand that's what the allegation is. Do you understand that?
Yes.
So that's what he is saying that you did. Is that correct, Officer Edwards?
That's correct.
Okay, so I just wanted you to understand what the allegation is. Now, with that said, Ms. McMichael, do you have any questions you'd like to ask the officer?
No.
Okay. Does the city rest?
City has no other witnesses, Judge. We will rest.
All right, the
Can
city
I
has
speak on
rested.
that?
Ms. McMichael, would you like to tell us what happened?
Yes. I was making a left turn, and it was a flashing light or making a left turn, but I kept going towards my right lane, which it was to be honest with you, it was no line there because it was like faded out and you couldn't see it. So when I made my left turn, I bear to the right because I was making a right turn a couple of blocks down.
Okay.
And when I went back to try to take a picture, I noticed that they painted the street. They painted yellow. They painted it.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Ms. McMichael?
No.
Okay. The prosecution has the right to ask you questions if he so chooses. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Prosecutor.
Ms. McMichael, in reference to the citation that you received, when Officer Edwards pulled you over and he explained to you what he was pulling you over for, did you state to him anything in reference to the stop?
No, I just asked him why he pulled me over. And
Okay.
that's when he told me.
And were you able to understand the reason why he gave you the citation?
I understood what he said, yes, but I didn't understand why he gave it to me because I was in my right lane.
Okay, so you're stating that when you turned left onto Parkway from Old Dixie, that
Mhm.
you maintained your lane for some distance before changing over into the next lane?
I went, or when I made that left, I bared all the way over to the right. Okay, maybe it was in the middle. Like I said, the line was faded out. You really couldn't see the line. So when I made the left, I bared to the right because I was making a right turn a couple blocks down to my taxpayer.
Okay. Were you able to make your right turn before you got stopped?
Yeah, I was in my right lane when he stopped me.
No, I'm asking, you said that you got into that lane because you planned on turning right to wherever you were going.
Correct, yes.
Were you able to make the right turn right before you got pulled over?
I was already made the right turn before he pulled me over. When he pulled me over, I was in my right lane.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm in the right lane. I don't understand why he pulled me over. That's why I asked him, why are you pulling me over?
Judge, if I can recall, Officer Edwards.
Yes. All right. Officer Edwards, go ahead and recall.
Y'all want me to restate about what transpired?
No,
Officer
just wait on him to
Edwards.
ask you a question.
Yeah, just in reference to the testimony from Ms. McMichael in reference to her making that maneuver and then getting into the right lane so that she can turn right at her location. Do you recall exactly where the pullover was, the stop?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Okay. Would you say that it was some distance from when she made the left turn onto Parkway?
Correct.
All right. And so there would have been the opportunity to, once she made that right turn, would there have been an opportunity for her to travel in her right lane, or in the correct lane? I keep saying right, but in the correct lane, and then signal to turn into the lane where she was going to be turning right at? Is that an accurate assessment of what she did wrong?
That's correct.
All right. No further questions for this witness, Judge.
All right. Ms. McMichael, based on the prosecutor
Oh,
redirecting the officer, do you have any additional questions you'd like to ask?
yes. When I made that left turn and I, going to the right, I was right there at the gas station. Okay. And that's when he came out of nowhere, because I mean, I could not go any other way. I knew where I was going. So when I made the left, I bared to the right, because I couldn't see any line when you made the left, but I knew I had to go to the right. So I was right there. He pulled me right after we passed the gas station. It wasn't that far away.
Okay.
And when I went back, I see all the lines painted now.
Mr. Prosecutor, do you have any further questions?
No further questions, Judge.
Okay. Ms. McMichael, you have entered a not guilty plea to the improper lane charge, and the allegation is that you were in one lane on the road that you were traveling on, and when you made the left turn, you switched to another lane as opposed to staying and maneuvering your car consistent with the lane that you were turning from. That's what the allegation is. It sounds like you're saying, yes, I did drift to the right, but I didn't realize it was a separate lane. And so you've entered a not guilty plea to the charge. The court does find you guilty of the violation. The fine amount is $150. Are you able to satisfy that in 2 weeks, or do you need more time to pay?
I can pay it, but I don't think it's fair because I know it was 2 lane. I know when you make the left turn, it is 2 lane. That's why when I made my left turn, I went towards the right. Even though it wasn't a line right there, I still bared to the right because I knew I was coming up on the right turn. But yes, I can pay it. I'm not guilty, but yes, I can pay it.
Okay. Well, it's okay for you to think in your head that you're not guilty, and I do understand that. You're going to receive, you have told them what your email address is that correct?
I did.
And Ms. Yates, do we have her email address?
We have it.
All right, you will receive your plea form, Ms. McMichael, to which you have the right to enter a not guilty plea, you will receive your criminal judgment form, your traffic judgment form that shows that you were found guilty and that the fine amount is $150. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, unless you have any other questions, you can disengage from the call, Ms. McMichael, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Now, there was one other person for a trial that we were trying to get on the line. I think it was Tracy.
I'm here as
Ray.
well. He knew some.
All right. Is Tracy Ray, did that person ever engage? He will pre-trial with you momentarily, Mr. Newsom, once he finishes up his trials.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Was Tracy Ray ever engaged on the line?
Yes, sir.
All right, Ms. Ray, please turn your video on.
Oh my God.
All right. Ms. Ray, you've entered a not guilty plea of the charge of improper turn. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Everyone that's going to testify, please raise your right hand. Officer Edwards, if you'll raise your right hand as well. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
I do.
All right. Mr. Prosecutor, go ahead and present the case.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Ray is before the court because on August 29th of 2021, she received a citation for improper right or left turn. Officer Edwards issued this citation. Officer Edwards, on the date in question, did you have an opportunity to come in contact with Ms. Ray?
I did.
Was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes, it was.
Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
Yes, I made contact with Miss Ray as I was behind her at the light on Forest Parkway in Old Dixie. Miss Ray made a left-hand turn onto Old Dixie from Forest Parkway and went directly into the outer lane, and I pulled over shortly after.
Okay. And when you pulled her over and explained to her why you pulled over, did she make any statements to you that you can recall?
No, not that I recall.
No further questions for this witness, Judge?
Ms. Ray, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Officer Edwards?
Yes, because when I made a left.
No, Ms. Ray, do you have any
No.
questions? You're going to get a chance to make a statement.
sir.
Do you have any
No, sir.
questions?
No, sir.
All right. Does the prosecution have any other evidence?
No other witnesses, Judge.
All right. Ms. Ray, you now can tell us what happened.
Okay, sir. I don't know that area good. I was making a left on Old Dixie to go into the Zestos. I made a left and I got in the far right lane and turned in the Zestos. Zestos is on that corner of Old Dixie.
All right. All right. Ms. Ray, when you were on Jonesboro Forest Parkway, were you on the inside lane or in the curb lane?
I was making a left, sir, right there.
Okay. So when you were coming off of Forest Parkway to turn on to Old Dixie, were you in the inside lane or were you in the curb lane, the outside lane?
It's a lane right there. I just made a left turn, sir.
Okay. All right. Okay. Mr. Prosecutor, you can go ahead and ask your questions.
Judge, I don't have any questions. I think she stated everything.
Okay. All right. Ms. Ray, is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, sir.
Okay. Let me tell you why I'm spending some time on this so that you don't get charged with this again. But let me help you to understand something, okay?
Yes, sir.
When you're traveling on a road that has multiple lanes and you're in one of those lanes, when you make a turn onto a road that has multiple lanes, the law says that you should stay in the lane that you were traveling from. So if you were turning left from the inside lane, when you make that turn, you are supposed to go into the inside lane. You understand that?
When I made a left, I jumped over to the right lane to go in Zestos. So
okay. Again, I'm just simply highlighting what the law says so that you will know going forward. I understand you were trying to get the Zestos, okay?
Yeah. Yes,
I get all that. I'm
Yes,
just
sir.
simply telling you why you're here. All right?
Yes, sir.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
So I've told you, hopefully you will understand that and it won't happen again, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Ms. Ray?
No, sir.
Okay. Ms. Ray, you've entered a not guilty plea to this charge. The court does find you guilty of this violation. The fine amount is $150. Are you able to satisfy that in 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time?
I'm on a fixed income, so I cannot do that. Is
Okay.
there any way I can do community service or
I
something?
am. What I'm gonna do is place you on probation for 12 months,
What?
and they will have you to fill out a, they will
I
have you to,
paid,
Miss
sir.
Ray, please
Yes,
let
sir.
me finish. Let me
Yes, sir.
finish. All right.
Yes, sir.
You will be placed on probation for 12 months. They will have you to fill out a financial affidavit form. If you meet the requirements for community service, your fine will be converted to community service. And once the community service is done, your probation will end automatically. Do you understand that?
Can I say something, sir?
You can.
Okay, can you just give me like a month to pay it, or 3 weeks?
Well, ma'am, I was placing you on probation, and that's when you said
I
that you
can't
could
be
not
put
pay
on
it.
probation. No, sir.
Okay, well, you're gonna have to go on probation no matter what. But what I hear you to say is I'm gonna pay the fine as opposed to doing the community service.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me just tell you, if you elected to do the community service, you'd have to do 20 hours. Do you understand that? So you can either do 20 hours of community service, or you can pay a fine of $150. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, now, let me tell you how probation works in Forest Park. If the fine is paid within the first 29 days, or if you do the community service within the first 29 days, you do not have to pay any monthly supervision fees, and your probation ends automatically. Do you understand that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I need to be sure that you understand this, so let me repeat this to you. If the fine of $150 is paid within the first 29 days, you do not have to pay any monthly probation fees, and your probation ends automatically. Do you understand that?
Yes. Yes.
Likewise, if you choose to do community service of 20 hours, you then do not have to pay a fine if you do the community service. Do you understand that?
Yes, but can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Like, you get put on probation, that'll be on my background or something?
Okay. In Georgia, probation does not show on your record unless you violate the terms and conditions.
Okay.
All right. I'm
Yes,
just
sir.
giving you options between, because when I first brought this to your attention, you said, I do not have $150. So I'm
Yes,
giving
sir.
you the option of the community service.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Now,
Yes, sir.
and I'm simply letting you know that you have the option of doing one or the other within the first 29 days. If
Yes,
you
sir.
go beyond 29 days, you will have to pay a monthly supervision fee. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And do you also understand that probation does not show on your record unless you violate the terms and conditions? Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
What is your email address? Have you typed it in the chat?
No, sir.
Well, you know, I asked everyone to do that. So will you please type your email address and your full name in the chat and send it to Forest Park Municipal Court, FPMC.
Yes, sir.
Make sure that you send it to FPMC, and make sure you type your name and your email address.
Okay.
Ms. Yates, do we have Ms. Ray's information?
I just see her first and last name right now. I see it now. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Ray, you can disengage. Please ensure that you comply You're going to get your plea form and your probation information through your email. Please make sure you comply so that you're not back in front of the court for any violations. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. And you can disengage from the call. All right. Mr. Prosecutor, I don't know that there are any other trials other than Mr. Newsom may want to to pre-try his case, and you can let us know what the outcome of that is.
Judge, if we can go ahead and take the plea on McKenzie also, was there
Okay.
Ms. Yates, was there another trial?
We have Josephine Victor.
Oh, where's Ms. Victor at? Okay.
We also have a DeAndrea Talley that's in the waiting room. She logged in late. She's one of Officer Simmons' cases, and the witnesses, they are not on the line. She logged in at 8:57.
Okay, we will probably need to reschedule that. But let us go ahead and go through
Josephine
plea,
Victor.
and you have a trial for Josephine Victor, Mr. Prosecutor.
We have Officer Lewis. There we go. I see Officer Lewis. And let me pull up Ms. Victor's case.
Judge Freeman,
Yes,
may Officer Simmons be dismissed?
yes, please.
Thank you.
And Judge, also, if I can just get a quick announcement for Mr. Creel on McKenzie, that way I can release Officer Dawes.
Okay.
Is George, is he entering the plea?
Yeah, we're gonna enter the plea today.
Okay. All right, so just stand by. We'll go ahead with this last trial.
All right.
If Officer Dawes only had this one case, so if he could be excused, Judge.
Okay, that is fine.
Do I have any more cases, Judge?
Yes, yeah, because
Yes,
after I
you
talk,
do.
I don't know what the result's going to be of that one, but that's one of your cases too.
Okay.
And so I'm ready to go forward on Josephine Victor, Judge.
All right. Ms. Victor?
Yes.
Yes. You have entered a not guilty plea to the stop sign violation. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. Everyone that is going to testify, if you will please raise your right hand, including Officer Lewis. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, Ms. Victor, because the city has the burden of proof, they get to present their case first. You have the right to question every witness that the city calls, and then you have the right to tell us what happened. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, the city will go ahead and present the case.
Yes, Your Honor. March 25th, 2021, Ms. Victor received a citation for a stop sign violation. Officer Lewis issued that citation. Sergeant Lewis, I apologize. Sergeant Lewis, on the date in question, did you have an opportunity to come in contact with Ms. Victor?
Yes.
And was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes, sir.
And you're a post-certified peace officer with arrest powers?
Yes, sir.
Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
On March 25th, while sitting stationary at Pine Ridge and Alder Drive, I observed a vehicle fail to come to a complete stop at a posted stop sign. I activated my emergency blue lights, made contact with the vehicle in the rear, made contact with the driver. Once the vehicle stopped, and issued that driver citation.
Okay. And once you issued the citation to Ms. Victor, did she make any statements to you that you can recall?
Not that I recall.
Nothing further for this witness, Judge. You're on mute, Judge.
I'm sorry, Ms. Victor, you've heard the testimony of the officer. Is that correct?
Correct.
Do you have any questions you'd like to ask the officer?
Sergeant Lewis, you didn't remember having a whole conversation?
Ma'am, I probably wrote 100 tickets since then. I cannot recall.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions, Ms. Victor?
No.
All right. let me ask, was there anything significant about the conversation you had with the officer that you want to bring to the court's attention?
Yes, because we were just talking about that stop, where he was sitting, because he was saying he was sitting there because I guess people in the area complained that people don't stop at that stop sign. And I was telling him how I did stop, unless you couldn't see me from how far back you were sitting, because my my phone had fell on the floor, and when I stopped, I leaned over to pick it up. So that was how I knew I, stopped. And I live right in the area, so I always stop there. But so I don't know.
Well, why don't you tell us what happened?
I was driving down the street. My phone is kind of like it plugs into my radio. It had fell on the floor when I was driving, so I was just waiting till the next like stop sign or light. And so when I stopped, I bent over to pick up my phone, and when I picked it up and I went to go, then I seen the police car, and he put his lights on and came out. And so when he first came to the car and I was trying to talk to him, and he just ignored me, and I was, and then when he came back, I was like, dang, officer, I was trying to talk to you. He was like real just dismissive at first. And then we had a kind of long conversation. He was a nice officer, but only reason why I was pleading guilty, not guilty, I wouldn't have dragged this on for this long, because this was like last year. It was a couple days after my birthday last year. It's only because I knew I picked it up, because other than that, for a stop sign, I would just go ahead and pay it. Because having to go back and forth to court and have been like canceled, rescheduled, all that, having to keep something like this on my schedule is just a lot. So I would have just paid it if I, knew I was wrong. But this one, I was like, no, I stopped and picked up my phone. I just believe he didn't see me at first from where he was sitting. They just park out at certain spots, and I don't know, but I know when an officer is there, and it really doesn't matter what we say, we always guilty. But I just felt like I wasn't wrong, so I wanted to just come and say that. I know it don't matter.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Prosecutor, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Ms. Victor?
I don't have any questions for Ms. Victor, but based on her statement, I would like to recall Sergeant Lewis.
Go ahead.
Sergeant Lewis, in reference to Ms. Victor's statement or testimony, and in light of the testimony that you gave, you've monitored that particular stop sign location several times prior to the one that you stopped Ms. Victor. Is that correct?
Correct.
You normally sit in the same location every time you're monitoring that intersection?
Yes, sir.
And where you park your vehicle at, do you have an unobstructed view of the stop sign, the roadway, and the vehicles that approach that stop sign?
Correct. I always park my vehicle so where I can see the posted stop sign and the white line, which I call the threshold. And that's normally where I park.
Okay. And would you, in reference to that particular location, is the white line before or some distance before the stop sign, or right at the stop sign, and some of them are even a little bit after the stop sign? Which one would you describe this at?
It's lined up with the stop sign.
It's lined up with the stop sign. So in your experience at that particular location, is it that people just don't come to a complete stop, meaning all four wheels stop rolling for at least 3 seconds prior to going through the intersection?
Right. And I think people get the idea that if they stop at some distance prior to that and then proceed, that they've stopped at the stop sign. That's not the case. But yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And so in your experience, that's usually what occurs, is that they stop some distance before it, don't pull all the way up to it, and then continue through the location. Okay. No further questions, Judge.
Ms. Victor, based on the officer's additional testimony, do you have any questions?
No.
All right. Is there a further statement you'd like to make?
When he just said that, I think it could have been possible that I did not stop at further up where he saw me, but I definitely stopped, and I do know how long you're supposed to stop for a stop sign, because I learned what rolling or whatever the word y'all just said like years ago. So I know how long you have to stop. But like I said, my phone fell on the floor, and it fell kind of closer to the passenger side door. So I had to stop for more than 5 seconds to reach it. But that's it.
Okay. All right. All right. Both sides have presented the case. The evidence and the record in this case is now closed. Ms. Victor, you've entered a not guilty plea to the stop sign violation. Based on the evidence presented, the court does find you guilty of this violation. The fine amount is $200. Are you able to satisfy that in 2 weeks, or do you need some time longer than that to pay?
I can pay it.
All right. Have you typed your email address and your full name in the chat?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Yates, do we have Ms. Victor's information?
Yes, sir, we do.
All right. Ms. Victor, you will receive your plea form through your email, as well as the judgment form for you to pay within 2 weeks. As long as you comply, that will close this matter out. Ms. Victor, you can disengage from the call.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Prosecutor, I think you have a plea in Attorney Creel's matter.
Yes, Judge.
All right. If you all will outline to me, what are the terms of the negotiated plea?
Yeah, this is on Mr. McKenzie. There are 4 citations. There's going to be an amendment to a reckless. We need to verify, though, that he is eligible for a NOLO to enter in on that reckless. There's
what is the
fine?
Yeah, go ahead. That's what I was waiting on.
The fine on the reckless is $1,980. The alcohol on premises is $280. Dismissing the failure to have license on person. And we're merging the improper erratic lane change into the reckless, but the fine is going to remain at $135. So I believe the total on that fine, those fines, is $2,395, if I have my math correct.
Okay.
There is 12 months of probation, 80 hours community service. There's a MAD impact panel that he must attend. Drug and alcohol evaluation with treatment if recommended. Also, we're asking that he do a driver improvement course, TVIP. And of course, he's not to consume any drugs or alcohol during the probated sentence.
Okay. All right.
Judge, that is our agreement. Mr. McKenzie made a mistake that night. He stopped drinking completely. He's got a job with a plate rental company, traffic plate rental company. And so at 52 years old, his license is crucial to his maintaining a living. And so we've negotiated this result with Mr. Marie Rose, and we ask that you accept it.
All right. Mr. McKenzie, it's my understanding through counsel that you are entering a NOLO and a guilty plea to the charges. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, that's correct.
Sir, do you understand that by entering into the respective pleas that you're doing this with the assistance of Attorney Creel?
Yes, sir.
Do you also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes, sir.
Sir, are you entering into this plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And sir, do you believe it is in your best interest to enter into these respective pleas today?
Yes, sir.
Attorney Creel, is there a factual basis that supports these charges, and do you so stipulate, sir?
Yes, Your Honor, we do stipulate.
All right. The court will accept the negotiated plea. I understand the total fine is $2,395, and it breaks out as follows. The DUI has been reduced to a reckless driving. That total fine is $1,980. The consuming alcohol on premise, that fine is $280. The failure to have license on person, that charge has been dismissed by the prosecution. The improper erratic lane change, that charge is being merged into the reckless with the additional amount of $135, bringing the total balance to $2,395. Mr. McKenzie, you will be on probation for 12 months. 12 months of your probation is mandatory. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
While on probation, you must complete 80 hours of community service within the first 4 months. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
Do you also understand that you are to complete a MAD panel? Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
Do you further understand that you are to undergo a drug and alcohol evaluation, and if treatment is recommended, you are to partake of that treatment? Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
And do you also understand that you are to complete a risk reduction course or a traffic violators improvement program course within the first 120 days of your sentence? Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Prosecutor, does that contain, and do you also understand that probation will perform random alcohol and drug screens? Do you understand that, Mr. McKenzie?
Yes.
And do you understand that while on probation, you are not to consume alcohol and non-prescribed drugs? Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, I take high blood pressure medicine. I do take.
That's why it said non-prescribed drugs.
Okay, yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Mr. Prosecutor, is that your understanding of the negotiated plea?
It is, Your Honor.
Mr. Attorney Creel, is that your understanding of the negotiated plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. McKenzie, is your name and email address typed into the chat?
Yes, it'll be the last one because I think I typed it in wrong. So it's the last one at 9:14 that I typed in.
Okay. Ms.
I received
Yates,
it.
okay, if you have his, if we will just send the plea form as well as the probation form to Attorney Creel and to Mr. McKenzie to have him to sign it and to get signed up for probation through Forest Park.
Yes, sir.
That will conclude this matter. Attorney Creel, always good to see you, sir.
Good to see you, Judge. Pleasure as
Thank
always.
You can disengage from the call. Mr. McKenzie, you can disengage as well.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right.
I was a witness on the case as well.
Thank you, Officer Daniels. You can disengage as well, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Officer Dodds. And
Yes, sir.
if I could place in the chat room with Mr. Newsom. I'm
Okay.
sorry, no. breakout room.
Judge Freeman, may
Yes.
Officer Dawes and Sergeant Lewis be excused?
Yes, thank you for reminding me. Yes, they can.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.
I'm going to step away for 2 moments and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Is somebody giving me a room for Mr. Newsom?
Okay, hold on.
Thank you.
I just sent the invites over to both of you for breakout session room 2.
Are there any more officers that's going to be needed outside of me?
Let me check. Who all do we have so far?
I know Officer Green and Officer Fields were both on the docket.
Well, Green, we had to change that to the arraignment, so Green is not needed today. I think Doss is done. The case for Simmons, the case for Simmons, the lady was FTA. And that was the only case for Lewis. So you're the only one, the last man standing. And I think that the only one we have for you is the Bussy lady, but we haven't been able to get her to log back in.
Okay, I know I saw Officer Fields on there for.
Did I get skipped or something?
Okay, who are we speaking with? I need
Miss Bussy.
Okay, we've called your name. I need for you to turn your camera on and keep the camera on. You can mute yourself, but the camera must stay on when you're in court. I'm sorry, Officer Edwards. What was that?
Yes, ma'am.
Officer Fields was showing on the calendar as well.
Fields?
Yes. I believe
The
it was
subject
for
is
accident.
FTA.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that was FTA. I'm sorry about that. I missed it.
Okay.
Okay, so yes, only the Miss Bussy, and then
Yes.
after that, you'll be free to go because the rest of them are red speed.
Okay.
Miss Bussy, did you enter your plea?
No.
What are you pleading?
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Okay. So bear with us one moment. You can mute your phone back. We're waiting on the solicitor and the judge to rejoin us, okay?
Okay.
All right, you all, I am back. Do we have any other trials other than we're waiting on the report regarding Mr. Newsom?
We have Brianna Bussy.
She was FTA. Have we excused Officer Edwards?
Well, she was here, Your Honor. She just had her mic muted.
Okay.
And yes, Officer Edwards is here.
Okay, well, we'll need to wait on the prosecutor to come back for that one. Miss Bussy, what is your plea to the improper turn charge, ma'am?
Not guilty.
All right, we will call this case for trial when the officer comes back,
Okay.
when the prosecutor comes back, rather. Mr. Newsom, have you had an opportunity to pre-try this case with the prosecutor?
Yes, sir, I have.
And did you all come to some type of an agreement?
We agree based on our discussion that it would be best to present the case to you, sir.
Okay, then we will be ready for the trial as soon as, all right. It looks like Officer Edwards.
Yes, Judge.
All right, everyone that's going to testify in the Timothy Newsom matter, if you'll please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, Mr. Newsom, the city has the burden of proof, so they present their case first. You will have an opportunity to question all witnesses and inspect all documents before the court sees them. Once the city has rested, you then have the right to present your evidence. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Prosecutor, will you please go ahead and present the case?
Yes, Your Honor. October 1st of 2020, Mr. Newsom was issued a citation by Officer Edwards for running a red light. Officer Edwards, on the date in question, did you have an opportunity to come in contact with Mr. Newsom?
Yes, I did.
And was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes, it was.
Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
Yes, I observed Mr. Newsom going through the intersection after the light turned red, and he advised me he couldn't stop because the trailer he was pulling.
Okay, and at that particular intersection, were you stationary watching traffic go through that intersection at the time?
No, I believe, I can't recall whether I was stationary or it was behind him.
Okay, but at some point you did observe the light change, and Mr. Newsom did not clear the intersection prior to the light turning red. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And when you pulled him over, he explained to you that he couldn't stop because of the trailer. I see your notes on the citation. Did he make any other statements to you that you can recall?
Not that I recall.
All right, nothing further for this witness, Judge.
All right, Mr. Newsom, do you have any questions you'd like to ask the officer?
Yes, sir. My question is, do you not recall that you were severely multiple car lengths behind me, not non-stationary? Because when I went,
so let me get you to do this, Mr. Newsom. It's a great question, but can you make it one question and then ask another question? So go ahead.
Yes.
It sounds like your first question is, were you several car lengths behind me?
Sir, were you several car lengths behind me from non-visible from my perception as well as your perception on the depth of me clearing that light? Because during your statement, you said you do not recall whether you were stationary or not, sir.
Even if I was multiple car lengths, I would have been able to observe you if I saw you go through the light.
So
right.
I think his first question is, were you multiple car lengths? So that calls for a yes or no response.
I could have been, not I can't recall.
Okay, so he's saying he does not recall whether he was multiple car lengths or not. And then your next question, and what's your next question, Mr. Newsom?
My next question is, with him being further back, multiple car lengths behind, his depth perception could be skewed at 9 p.m. at night.
You're asking him, does he believe that his view may have been skewed? Is that what you're asking him?
I'm asking the officer, could your view have been skewed being multiple and being at dark, completely dark at night at 9?
So his first question is, because you were multiple car lengths behind, could your view have been skewed? That's his first question, officer.
No, not if I observed him.
He said, no, it was not. He was not obscured. And then his second question is, because it was at nighttime, could the darkness have obscured your vision?
No, because it would have been a well-lit intersection.
All right. So he said no to both of your questions, Mr. Newsom. What's your next question?
That's it. That's it for his question, sir.
Okay. Does the city have any other evidence?
No other evidence, Judge.
All right. I think the city rests. Mr. Newsom, you now can say what happened.
Yes, sir. With a trailer and car loaded with a car with my truck. with my family, my wife and my daughter in the vehicle with me as well. My truck is completely black. It's actually called a midnight edition. So the truck is black windows, black paint, black wheels, black bumpers even. With that being said, I was pulling an open car trailer. So the car is completely visible from the back and is a white car. So with me going through this intersection and going through a yellow light, because when the light changed yellow, I was less than 200 feet of clearing that intersection, which is not adequate amount of distance for me to apply brake, stop, and come to a controlled stop at that light. So I proceeded through the yellow light. The officer, with him being behind me in perception, you cannot see that truck with it being completely black outside. The truck is completely black, as you can see in the report, and the vehicle on the open trailer is white. Now, the trailer itself is a very low profile trailer because that's what I do for a living. I haul vehicles and I repair them, I restore them, and then obviously sell them at a later date. With that being said, the perception from a rear view is a white car going through a red light, when in fact, I went through the yellow light with my truck and the full of my vehicle, which I believe fully cleared that intersection. But from a behind perspective, it looks like a white car going through would be a yellow turning to red light. That being said, the officer did not pull me over at least until a mile plus, maybe a mile and a half after going through that intersection, because that's what kind of threw me off. It's like, this came out of nowhere. It wasn't like I went through the light and he was right behind me. It was at least a mile. My wife and my daughter were in the car with me, which I believe once he got closer, he realized the whole package. And that's why I explained to him, hey, I'm pulling a car. And I believe he pulled me over initially because he thought he saw a white car go through a red light. When in fact, from that depth perception of me going through the truck with a completely black truck, as notated, I did not run a red light.
Okay. All right, sir, the prosecutor may have some questions to ask you. Mr. Prosecutor, do you have any questions, sir?
I do, Your Honor. Mr. Newsom, in reference to your testimony that you just gave, you stated the vehicle that you were driving, which was the black truck, approached the intersection at a yellow light, and that vehicle was pulling a trailer, correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And the vehicle that was on the trailer was a white vehicle, is that correct?
Yes, sir, Lexus IS 300, 2003 model.
All right, and I believe your statement was that you did not run, your contention is you did not run the red light because your vehicle, meaning the vehicle pulling the trailer, cleared the intersection prior to the light being able to turn red, is that correct?
Yes, sir. The vehicle, and I believe my trailer as well, proceeded through the full yellow light. Now, I'm not driving in my rear view to gauge the perfect distance, but based on going through the light fully through a yellow, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, as you just stated, you couldn't see it through your rear view, but were you able, when you approached that light and it was yellow, and once you got under the light, were you able to tell whether the light had turned red at that point?
No, sir.
Now, you would agree with me that vehicles that were stopped at the intersection behind you would have been able to see whether the light was red or yellow, is that correct?
When you say behind me, you mean behind me far as the trailer and the car that I'm towing and the whole package, as far as my vehicle?
No, behind you meaning before the light, before the intersection, before the light.
I can't really depict that. I can't say what they could see or not, because if they're depending on their travel distance from behind my trailer could have could have obstructed the view of the light, or if they were further back, they probably would have saw the light.
Is your trailer a tall trailer? I thought you said it was low profile.
It is low profile. However, a car is low on top of it. So I'm saying it, with them being close to my trailer, so let's just say one car length or less, they may have not seen the light, but further back, I'm assuming they would.
Okay. I believe you also testified saying that you believe that Officer Edwards would have seen the white vehicle, and you believe he pulled you over based on him seeing a white vehicle run a red light. Wasn't that your testimony earlier?
I didn't say running a red light. I saw he pulled a vehicle from his viewpoint from being behind me, he saw a white vehicle that from his distance, because he was not close enough distance for me to see him or for him to see a black truck, he pulled me over with the back perception of a white car going through a red light. However, I went through a yellow light with my black truck is what I was trying to say.
But the white car that you're referring to in that statement is the white car that you were pulling on the trailer. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. No further questions, Judge.
All right. Is there any other evidence from the prosecution?
No, Your Honor, the city rests.
All right, Mr. Newsom, is there any other evidence from you, sir?
No, sir, other than my wife being in the car, and I don't want to drag her through this. This ticket has been 2 years, and I've been rescheduled about 3 times just to speak. And so I just don't want to drag her into it as well.
I'm not understanding. You're saying you do want your wife to testify, or you do not want your wife to testify?
You asked if there was any other evidence. I said the only other evidence would be my wife, but I don't want to drag her into testifying.
So is she going to testify or not? Is she?
No, sir.
She's not testifying. Okay. All right. I just wanted to clarify.
Yes,
Would
sir.
you like for her to testify?
I mean, I could go and get her. Yes, sir. If you need
I
me
will
to.
leave that up to you.
No,
I will leave that up to you. Whatever witnesses you decide to call, I will leave that up to you. Do you want your wife to testify? Do you want to proceed without your wife testifying?
I'll proceed without, just because she's watching my daughter upstairs, and I don't. Then we've got a screaming child, which is not going to be productive.
Okay. All right. All right. So there's no other evidence that on your side that you'd like to present, Mr. Newsom. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
All right. Then the defense rests as well. Mr. Newsom, you have entered a not guilty plea to the traffic control device, and I think the argument is that you were driving a vehicle with a trailer behind. You're saying that you entered and cleared the intersection before the light turned red, and it looks like the officer is saying that you entered the intersection and did not clear it before the light turned red. So that seems to be what the contention is. Is that what you understand it to be?
That is the contention, with also a contention of that the officer was several car lengths and behind perception of me clearing that light. Yes, sir.
Okay. And let me ask you something. Could you see the officer in your rearview mirror?
No, sir. He was not visible far as following behind me. No, sir.
So you didn't see the officer at all?
I didn't see the officer until I was about a mile up the road, and I saw his lights on about a mile back. Not a mile back, excuse me. I was a mile through that light, and after a mile, I saw his car lights from a far distance back. Yes, sir. So I made sure that it wasn't me that he was pulling over. When he got behind me, I knew it was me, so I pulled off right. And instead of parking on the side of the road, I distinctly remember pulling into a fast food restaurant of some sorts, just so that we weren't sitting on the side of the road there.
Okay. So let me reframe my question, because it may have been a little confusing. Prior to you going through the intersection, did you see the officer?
Oh, no, sir. No, sir.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sir, you've entered a not guilty plea to the charge. The court does find you guilty of this violation. This fine amount is $175. Are you able to satisfy that within 2 weeks, sir, or do you need a longer period of time to pay it?
No, sir. It can be satisfied.
All right. Have you typed your name and your email address in the chat?
Yes, sir, I have.
All right, Ms. Yates, do we have Mr. Newsom's information?
Yes, sir, we do.
All right, Mr. Newsom, you will receive your plea form, to which you will enter a not guilty plea, which is consistent with what your plea was. The court has found you guilty of the violation. The fine amount is $175, and you will receive payments on how to pay that within the 2-week time period. Do you understand that, sir?
I do understand it. Yes, sir.
All right, sir, do you have any questions?
Yes, sir. Based on the findings here and the officer's perception, I feel like I should not receive, defamation to my driving record, based on what I did at driving as I was supposed to under the law. I did not run a red light.
Okay.
feel like that would kind of be a defamation of my character based on my driver record of not ever committing such a citation.
Okay, well, you have been found guilty by the court. It will show on your record. Sometimes if you take a safe driving course and submit that to your insurance company, that goes a long way with them, and it doesn't hurt. And, you know, I wish you and prosecutor had possibly had a conversation around the time of the arraignment. And possibly he would have told you to take a safe driving course then, but it looks like you entered a not guilty plea early on, so it followed this track. But be mindful now, anytime someone is found guilty and they believe that they should have been found not guilty, Mr. Newsom, you still have the right to appeal this decision to a higher court if you'd like to, okay?
Yes,
and
sir.
that process, I would recommend that you speak with an attorney, but the process does require you to satisfy the fine. The fine is then used as your appeal bond, and it goes over to a superior court judge in Clayton County, who will look back at this and determine whether or not the ruling of this court was proper. So you do have some rights even after this conviction today. Do you understand that?
I understand that, but my time is way more valuable than the $175 that the ticket is. I did it based on the pure principle of not running a red light.
Okay. Well, sir, if you have no other questions, you can disengage, and please make sure you take care of this within 2 weeks.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you. All right. All right, Mr. Prosecutor, do you have any other matters on the calendar? I believe Miss Bessie.
Yes, sir. My camera was took off, so that wasn't me. It says the host took my camera off.
Yes, ma'am. I took your camera off. You're wearing a tank top and your camera was below your chest. So I disabled your video.
All right. Miss Bessie, is there any way for you to put in on a jacket or something?
Yes, it is, but that's crazy because I see a young lady sitting up there with a tank top on.
Miss Bessie, again, we do have a dress protocol, and the handling of this by Ms. Yates was proper. Is there a way for you to put on a jacket or something to just cover up your tank top?
Yes, sir. I have a t-shirt on.
Okay. And are we ready to proceed with Ms. Bussey's matter?
Yes, Your Honor, that's Officer Edwards' case also. He is on the line.
All right. And once we get Ms. Bussey's video back up, all right. Everyone that is going to testify in this case, if you will please raise your right hand. Your right hand, yes, thank you. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
Wonderful. Ms. Bussey, the city has the burden of proof, so they will present this case first. You will have an opportunity to ask questions. Once the city has rested its case, you then can present your case. Once all the evidence has been presented to the court, I will make a decision. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Prosecutor, will you go ahead and present the case?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Bussey's before the court because on September 12th of 2021, she received a citation for improper right or left turn. Officer Edwards issued that citation. Officer Edwards, on the date in question, did you have an opportunity to come in contact with Ms. Bussey?
I did.
And was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
It was.
Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
Yes, I observed Miss Bussey making a left-hand turn onto Forest Parkway from Old Dixie and going directly into the outer lane.
All right. And at which point you then initiated your lights and pulled her over. You explained to her why you pulled her over. Did she make any statements to you that you can recall?
Not that I recall.
Nothing further for this witness at this time, Judge.
All right, Ms. Bussey, do you have any questions you'd like to ask the officer?
Yes, sir. Well,
Go ahead.
no, I don't have any questions.
Do you understand what he said?
Yes, but it's not true.
Okay, but I'm not saying you agree with him. I just want to be sure you understand what he said.
Okay. I have one question.
Okay, but first, do you understand what he said?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead and ask your question.
Did you pull me over directly after the improper left turn, or you pulled me over in my apartments? after the fact.
I believe I pulled you over in front of the gas station in front of your apartment complex.
Okay.
All right. Do you
No
have any
further
other
questions, Judge.
Do you have any other questions, Ms. Bussey?
No further questions, Judge.
Okay. Does the city have any other evidence?
No, Your Honor, city rests.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bussey, would you like to tell us what happened?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Coming down, it was me and actually my friend Caroline Morales, who is supposed to have this same case exactly. We were following each other from my mom's house, and that Shell gas station and Raceway, that left turn. Now it's multiple cars that's making this left turn. Now, I don't recall seeing this police officer until after the left turn was made. Now, I do recall me coming on the inside and my friend going on that outer side lane. But when we got to the red light, I seen Officer Edwards sitting to the left of me at the next light, about a mile down before you get to my apartment complex, which sits a Sunoco in front of my apartment complex. As I'm at the red light sitting there, I look over, he was looking at me, and then he was about to roll his window down. I thought he was trying to holler or something. And I'm like, okay, I kept going. When the light turned green, I went on about my business. He proceeds to get over behind me and try to pull me over. So I'm on the way home now, literally 3 seconds away from home. So I pull over to the gas station right there by my apartment, near my apartments, literally directly across. And so does my friend. So he says, you did. I said, is there a reason why I'm getting pulled over, officer? You made an improper left turn. I'm like, improper? That's not right. I said, and if that's the case, why did you pull me over a whole mile and some change down the road? And you wasn't even, paying attention to me, really, because you didn't pay attention to me until we got to a red light. And I don't even recall him being behind me to see an improper left turn. Then he proceeds to say, hey, to my friend, you're pulled over too, because you did the improper left turn as well. Now, she was trying to talk out of it, but I was like, I'll wait till I get to court. But I just feel like that was an improper citation, and it just didn't make sense to me. And for him to say it's an improper left turn, but it's 2 lanes and the left light, everybody's making this same left turn. If that's the case, you need to pull over everybody, not just one specific person or 2 people that you spotted or think you spotted. And that's it, Judge.
Okay. The city may have questions to ask you, Ms. Bussey.
Okay.
Does the prosecution have any questions?
I do, Your Honor. Ms. Bussey, you just testified, and I believe in your statement, I heard you say that Officer Edwards had pulled up beside you. Is that correct?
Yes, on the left-hand side at a red light, a mile and a half down.
Okay. And you said on the left-hand side of you, so you would be looking into his passenger side. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. And so I believe you also stated that he couldn't see you make the improper turn that he charged you with because he was not behind you. Was that what you said earlier?
No, I was saying was where he was sitting at, he didn't see me making improper. He only seen me change lanes and get over. And that's where he met me at, that red light. And he was right there on my left-hand side. But as he's rolling down his window, I'm thinking he's gonna say something, or I'm thinking he's trying to holler or something, but I ignored him. I ignored the fact, and I'm thinking I'm getting pulled over because I ignored him. And I wasn't, trying to figure out what he was saying through his window. But I'm literally right there in front of my apartment. So I'm going to the right blinker on, and he pulls me over in the gas station to the left. So I pull over to the gas station to the left of my apartments.
Well, let me ask you about that, because I believe you stated that there was a young lady who was your friend that was following you. Is that correct?
Correct.
At that particular intersection before the officer pulled you over, was that young lady behind you or was she beside you?
She got behind me.
Okay. And so where you got pulled over at the Sunoco, your car pulled into that station and your friend's car pulled into that station, and then the officer pulled into that station. Is that correct?
Correct.
So then he would have seen both of you guys turn onto Old Dixie from Forest Parkway. Is that correct?
No, he wouldn't have been able to see that. Not coming from where those train tracks are.
Okay, let me make sure that I understand your testimony. You said that at some point he pulled beside you and began to roll his window down. You thought he was going to try to talk to you at that point, correct?
Correct.
And he
But that's
was
a mile and a half down,
he was
past
to
the left turn.
He was to the left of you in the roadway. Is that correct? He was in the left
Right.
lane.
Right.
And the young lady that you said was following you was directly behind you.
Correct.
All right. And so did you both proceed toward the intersection at the same time?
No.
You're saying,
What part of the intersection are you talking about? At the red light, or are you talking about whether he claims the improper left turn was?
where you turned onto Old Dixie.
Okay, where I turned onto Old Dixie, he was nowhere to be found. I didn't see him until I got to the next red light right there by that dealership.
Okay, so what you testified to earlier about him, you thinking that he was going to speak to you when he rolled his window down, where was that at?
That was on Jonesboro Road. That wasn't nowhere near Old Dixie in that turn. That was literally in front of the Sonico that's in front of my apartment.
All right, so when you turned onto Old Dixie from Forest Parkway, you didn't see Officer Edwards, his vehicle. You didn't know where he was at that time.
Nowhere in sight.
All right. No further questions, Judge.
Okay. All right. Is Miss Bussey, is there any other testimony or any other evidence you'd like to present, young lady?
No, sir.
All right. Do you rest your case?
Yes, sir, Judge.
All right. Ms. Bussey, you've been charged with improper turn, which the officer is alleging that you were in one lane from the road that you were traveling on, and when you turn onto another street, you switched to another lane. And that's what the violation is. At least that's what his allegation is. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I understand it.
Okay. You've entered a not guilty plea to that charge. The court has listened to the evidence from everyone. The court does find you guilty of this violation. The fine is $150, young lady. Are you able to satisfy that within 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time to pay this?
I can pay it in 2 weeks.
All right. Have you typed your name and your email address in the chat?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Yates, do we have Ms. Bussey's information?
Yes, sir.
All right, Ms. Bussey, you will receive your plea form, to which you will enter a not guilty plea, and then you will receive a 2-week agreement to pay the sum of $150, and that will conclude this matter. So, young lady, you can disengage from this hearing, and thank you. Officer Edwards, you can disengage as well, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Prosecutor, I think that takes care of your calendar, doesn't it?
It does, Your Honor. I don't believe we have anything left but red speed.
Okay. If we can go to red speed next. Ms. Yates, do we have anything else left on the calendar?
No, sir, we do not.
Wonderful. Can we go to the red speed cases and let me know which one you're going to pull up first?
Micah Malone.
All right. And if you all could please screen share, be helpful. The information regarding Mr. Malone.
Uh-oh, what just happened? I got you. I think.
Yep, I see it. If you all can scroll up, this is a school zone violation. I'd like to see. All right, Mr. Malone.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, this is a school zone violation camera violation. It's a civil violation, but is this car, it looks like it's a silver Impala?
Yes, it's a silver Impala, correct.
Yeah, were you driving the car on that day, sir?
Yes, sir, it was.
Okay, and does this vehicle belong to you?
Yes, sir, it is. It does.
And the allegation is that during the school zone time, 2:48 is a school zone time, that you were traveling above the 25 miles per hour speed limit. That's what the allegation is. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let me have you to please raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear or affirm all the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. Do you understand that, sir? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, this particular red speed session is basically based on a series of camera shots taken by the camera that basically depict vehicles going through the school zone during the school zone time. The school zone speed is 25 miles per hour. I think you have read this over. It lets you know it is a civil violation and not a criminal violation. You have come on the hearing because you believe that you should not be liable for this violation. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, can you please tell me, sir, why you believe you should not be liable for this violation?
Multiple reasons. One being, before entering the view of that camera, there's a signal light that should be working to let you know that you're entering the school zone. As well, there should be a sign stating that those hours are school zone hours, which I did not know, and there's no sign that's visible, or there is not a working light. That light has not been working on that street. I guess it's called Rock Cut for quite a while in both directions, because it's a school zone coming both ways. So there's no warning light to let you know that you're coming into the school zone, which is at a decline, which is a high speed if you're not careful for that 25 miles an hour. And two, I believe it was not a school day at that time. It may have vehicles in the parking lot, might be a conference, but it was not an in-school session day. So for those two reasons, I believe that I'm not in violation of whatever this is saying, because according to that, if the light was on, if it was a school's time for that 25 mile, the regular speed limit on that street will take me to 35 miles per hour, which will hopefully not put me in violation of speeding.
So, Mr. Malone, let's deal with the two things you've said one by one. One thing, you say that this was not a school day. Is that correct?
Correct. It was not a operational school day. There may have been vehicles in the parking lot of the school, but it was not in a school day.
When you say it's not a school day, are you saying it was a weekend, or are you
No,
just saying
it was a weekday, but it was not schools, and there was not school session. I couldn't tell you if there was a meeting at the school, but there was no kids, no school bus, no school operational, like how it usually is when I pass that street at certain different times.
Okay. So because this is a civil violation, you do have, sir, do you have anything that shows this was not a school day? Do you have a school schedule or anything that shows this school was not open on that day?
No, just according to the timing, my child was out of school that day. My child's in the same district. So no.
Did your child go to that school?
It do not. My child goes in that district.
Okay, all right. Okay, so your belief that it was not a school day is based in part by the fact that your child was not in school and that you didn't see any children that day.
Well, my belief is, yeah, at that time of school, from what I've seen before in other times, no, school was not at full operational to suggest that it was an operational school day for children.
Okay.
But that is only the second half of my dispute. If you was to put my two reasons in order, that would be my second half. Definitely my first half is that there's not adequate signage or a working light to tell you this is school time, this is school hours, you are now entering a school zone.
Okay, all right.
On that street from both directions.
Okay. And sir, do you have any evidence that those signs were not operational on that day?
No, I have taken a picture of that sign, of that so-called warning light. You know, I guess whatever the hours are considered to be school hours. And no, it was not working.
Okay.
I mean, I don't.
Was your picture taken that day or around that day?
No, it was just taken to show on another day that this light is still inoperational. Even on my way today to be positioned to be in court to drop my child off, as of today, that light both ways is still inoperational.
Okay, well, it would be, okay. This is the summertime, so we.
No,
okay.
today is the school day because I can tell, leaving on that street to take my child to school, now you can see the high activity of where this camera is across from that school, that it's no question a school day. Kids are around, crossing guard is out, you know, everything that you would consider the school to be in operation is on today, which was not on that day that this ticket was issued to me.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Malone. Is there anything else you'd like to say, sir?
No, there's not.
All right. Sir, I have listened to the evidence in the case. You've been sworn in. You've testified that this is in fact your vehicle and you were operating the vehicle on that day. Based on the information that's been provided as well as the attestations that are set out through this proceeding, the court does find you liable for this school zone violation. The requirements of you to comply are set out in here. So, sir, you will be required to comply and pay that civil penalty of $75. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Sir, you can disengage from the call. Please read.
I have another statement.
You certainly can.
Yes. Do I have the right as well to appeal this judgment?
You can look this form, because this has not come through our traditional court system. It tells you what your appellate rights are. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your
So
Honor.
whatever the form tells you to do, that's what you have the right to do. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Do you have any other questions, sir?
No.
All right. Thank you. Let's go to the next matter.
It's going to be Nancy Ibarra.
All right, Ms. Ibarra.
Yes.
Yeah, Ms. Ibarra, you were charged with looks like a school zone violation as well. It looks to be a white Tundra Toyota pickup truck that's depicted. Does that truck belong to you?
Yes, it does.
And were you operating the vehicle on that day?
Yes, I was.
All right, let me have you to please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you've provided and the testimony that you will give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
So say I do. All right, ma'am, this particular portion of our court is called our red speed camera session. You are here because a camera has taken a few still shots of your vehicle, and it outlines the time, the date, and what you were doing. And if you've read through this, there are certain statutory things that can exonerate you from this. But because it is a civil matter, this is not something that goes on your driving record. It's just a violation that took place that needs to be handled. You've taken the position that you're not liable for this. So can you please tell me why you believe you're not liable?
The school zone light was the flashing light. It wasn't working. There was also a police officer. You can see it in the video. If they can show it to you, I can also show you my phone. There was a police officer behind me for a few blocks back from that place, and he didn't stop me. The light wasn't flashing, and I feel like if I was speeding, that police officer would have stopped me.
Okay. So let me repeat, because this area is regulated by the cameras, the police officers are not going to stop you because that's what the cameras are for. But your defense is you believe that if you were doing something wrong, the police officer would have stopped you and given you a citation. Am I understanding you correctly?
Correct.
All right. Is there any other reason as to why you feel that you should not be liable for this?
The light was not flashing for school zone.
Okay. And the fact that the light was not flashing, those two reasons, is that correct?
Correct.
All right. All right. Ma'am, is there anything else you'd like to say?
No.
All right. Ma'am, you have entered a not guilty plea to being liable of this civil violation. Based on what the court has heard, the court finds that you are liable for this violation. The fine assessment of $75 is due. Please read over the form and make sure that you make payment accordingly. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
All right, ma'am, do you have any questions?
No.
All right, you can disengage.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. You want to go to the next matter?
We have Suwana White.
All right. Ms. White,
Yes,
let me have you to please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, Ms. White, you are brought before the court on a red speed calendar with the allegation that this vehicle violated the school speed on the date of May 17th, 2022. Ma'am, does this vehicle belong to you?
It does, yes.
And were you operating the vehicle on that day?
I was, yes.
Okay. And you are taking the position that you should not be liable for this assessment. Can you please tell the court why you believe you should not be liable for this?
Well, I can't compare my case to anybody else's, but I'm in the same situation because there is no working flashing lights. So I wasn't even aware of what the school time was. I know that you have to adhere to the rules regardless of what time of day it was, but the fact that the school, that the flashers does not work and there was no time to indicate, because even when I called in to tell them that I wanted to dispute the citation, she asked me what was my reason, and she had to tell me. I asked her what were the times for the for the school zone. What are the times? Because there are no times indicated. So I know that the rules have to obey regardless of what time it is. But I just wanted to know, what time was it and where would the flashing lights be? Because she did indicate that as she was taking down the information that I gave her as to why I wanted to speak with the judge regarding this citation.
Okay. Well, it is different based on the type of school, but I'm gonna check just to verify what time the school zone times are. All right.
So she did give me the school zone. So the citation was given to me within that time. However, there was no sign or flashing lights to say that the time, so that
Okay,
with
so
the
your
lights
allegation
flashing,
is that there was nothing that put you on notice of the school zone times.
no.
Okay, right. That's what I understood you to say.
Right. I wasn't
Okay.
even aware of the time.
I understand that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Ma'am, is there anything else that you'd like to say?
No, that'll be all.
Okay, so I do want you to go look at 40-14-18, which is the code section that sets out what the requirements are regarding the posting of school zone time when you're doing camera speed and red light cameras.
Okay, could you repeat that? You said 40-14?
40-14-18 of the Georgia Code.
Okay.
40-14-18 of the Georgia Code.
Okay.
But it sets out what the requirements are. In fact, it's actually on it's on your violation. It says 40-14-18. Do you see that in the top paragraph?
Right.
Yeah. I think after you look at that, that will answer your questions, okay?
Right.
You have said that you feel that you are not liable for this. Based on the evidence that I have heard, you are liable for this. You are responsible to pay the assessment of $75 or whatever the amount is. And there is information on here on where to pay it. So that will be the ruling of this court. Do you have any questions?
Do I have the 2 weeks as well?
This one is a little different because this is not monitored through my court.
Okay.
I would tell you to try to get this in as soon as you possibly can, okay?
Okay.
I'm sorry,
All
Judge
right.
Freeman. I'm actually on the website now, making the dispositions. Ma'am, you have until 9/12 to pay the $75. You have to pay it through Red Speed though, okay?
Okay, and is that indicated anywhere on the citation as well?
Yes, once you look at that, it'll have the information for a phone number, or you can go online to pay it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much for your help.
No problem.
All right, who do we have next?
That's it.
It appears that's all.
Okay, well,
Ms.
wonderful.
Green.
Taking care of our 8 o'clock calendar as well.
I think Ms. Green had a red speed ticket.
Hey, is somebody recording? I
Oh,
stopped
wait, let's
recording
stop. Hold on. Let me stop.
live.
Yes.